A last minute video. You know I couldn't send you to the exam just like that. It's a last minute video doing a little recap, doing a little tidying up of things that you should know. So go ahead and check out my individual videos on all aspects of the exam. For now, let's do a quick crash course of English A. CSEC English A. I am Jamain Hatton, if you didn't know already. Let's go into this recap. Hi to all the Caribbean people in the house. Hi to the St. Vincent people, Vinci, Dominica, Belize. Where else we have? Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Guyana, of course. Can't forget the Guyanese. Big up the Guyanese massive. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're from. You must be tired, but you're up. You want to do well in the exam. Don't be late. Please don't be late in the exam. Get up early tomorrow. Let your mother, your grandmother wake you up to go to this exam. Don't be late. All right? Let's go into it. I know you're tired of seeing this slide, but I have to say it again. The English A exam has 4 sections. You'll be required to answer questions in all of those sections, A, B, C, and D. You have a little option later on in the paper, but you don't have options really in the exam. You have to answer questions in each of these sections. So section A has the summary. You have to do the summary. There's no option there. You have to do that summary. Section B, there is where there is a difficulty to many students. The section B would have a letter or an email or a statistical report or a memo. But I do think it can be any of these here. Letter, email, statistical report, right? So statistical report, I'm feeling it this year. If it's not a statistical report, it will be an email. But letter I think is overused. They wouldn't really bring a letter. They can, but I'm feeling an email or a statistical report. Since it's worth 30 marks, I suggest you do this one first, then you do your short story. Sit down there, enjoy that story, write well. There's a video on story writing, there's a video on statistical report and email and letter writing and summary writing. You have many videos here on this channel. Check those out. Hi guys, so I want to correct a question I previously gave an answer to. I gave the answer as acceptable, the sentence was acceptable. I just want to point that out that was wrong. The question read, if I were the captain of the West Indies cricket team, I will attack batsmen with my fast bowlers immediately after the luncheon interval. That answer was supposed to be C, grammatically incorrect for this reason. When you use statements like if I were should be followed by I would. And that would show a possibility or a probability of something, right? So let me just give you a quick English tutorial here. We learn and we know that I would often say it was, he was, she was, I was. So in past tense we use was to show that. And we say they, we, you were. But the phrase if I were is not a past tense phrase. The phrase if I were is used to introduce a hypothetical situation. For example, a subjunctive mood, right? So if I were, I read if I were and just thought it was correct automatically. So that would be wrong. You have to look to find what would the other clause be. So if I were shows that hypothetical situation, something that you could never be, right? So for example, I'm giving one example here. If I were rich, so that's a probability of something that can never be. I don't want to say can never be, it will be, but at this very point here, it's not so. If I were rich, I would give all my YouTube students $1,000 when they get a grade 1 in English. If I were, the probability or the hypothetical situation is rich, and I'm saying if I were rich. If I were signifies that probability. You can see a question like this in the multiple choice, but as it is, this question here, if I were the captain of the West Indies cricket team, I will attack the batsmen. That would be wrong because if I were should be followed by I would, right? So that would have been grammatically incorrect because the wrong word here I will should have been I would. Or it can be faulty diction. So yeah, good, but it's C. Grammatically incorrect, faulty diction. Alright, so we're quickly looking at a few multiple choice questions. So we have question 11 says he divided the sweets among Sasha and me. So this is from 2012. The error here would be B, among. So let me quickly tell you, between is used to refer to one-on-one relationships, or oftentimes we use it to show relationship between two things, right? So divide the sweets should have been between Sasha and me, right? And not among. Among would use to, oftentimes it's used to, and it's not only used that way, but it's often used to show more than two things, right? So this one would be between. 12. Peter now have influenza. Don't need to continue reading that. Peter is singular, so the verb should be singular as well. Peter now has influenza. So that one will be A. Next we have the team. The rest of the team was not in no mood to continue the game and went off the field. This one is a double negative error, so the error would be the second part of the phrase, not in no mood. Was not in the mood, it should have been, or was not in any mood. So to correct the double negative, you just simply have to make one positive. So was not in the mood. So the error would be there, was not in no mood. Be careful here, because the question often comes and they would normally put separate underlined words for was not as one and then no mood as another. So the second half of the statement would be the error, would be the double negative error. So the problem there was not in no. The no is the double negative error. Alright, so was not in the mood. Number 14 says too much students enter the competition. We don't need to continue that. Too much is used in front of a noun that is not countable. So much rain is expected today. Much honesty was displayed by the young man. Many, on the other hand, is used when you can count a noun. So it's used in front of a countable noun. So for example, this one here should have been too many students enter the competition. So that much would have been an error. So A. Then we have the bias reporter is concerned not so much with the truth of what he writes as with its credibility. That's fine to me. Perfectly okay. What do you think about this one, number 15? Seems good. And again, reminding you that not all these questions would have D. Students often say, oh God, this thing sounds good to me. Alright, that one sounds good too. So D everything, man. D. Rarely is the answer D. Remember that. Alright? Good. I hope the sound is better. I've been trying my best to get the sound optimum to people's liking. I hope it's better tonight. Give me a feedback. Tell me how the sound is sounding. So we're looking at some other errors here. A, too wordy. B, cliche, incorrect grammar, faulty diction, and D, acceptable as stands. Remember these questions, these options here, A, B, C, D, can be rearranged. So don't religiously hold on to a particular option as an answer, because they can change it. D can now become wordy. So be careful how you go about that exam tomorrow. Read the instructions carefully. So too wordy just means the same thing has been repeated. We have, for example, reverse back the car, or a free complimentary, or like I often say, my students tell me I say it a lot, I didn't realize, the exact same thing. Exact means the same. Reverse means to go back. You don't reverse back. We don't repeat that repeating of it. Caribbean people do that a lot. I don't know why. But I guess it's for emphasis. But yeah, Caribbean people do it a lot. Even I am not without sin here. I do it sometimes as well. So try to not think that redundancies are normal. Redundancies are errors. They should always be taken out of your writing. So CXC is trying to see whether or not you can figure out or pick out errors in terms of redundancy. Cliches are overused statements, things that have been said over and over and over that have lost their meanings. Misused metaphors when one thing is compared to something else that's totally unrelated. Uh, Grammatically incorrect, this can be sentence errors such as punctuation. It can be uh, subject and verb agreement issues. It can be other grammatical rules. Faulty diction. Diction is your choice of words, so faulty diction would be the use of an incorrect word in a space that the word doesn't belong. So an example of faulty diction: I hate people using big words when a small word, hippopotamus. Hippopotamus has nothing to do with what I'm saying there, so hippopotamus is just put in there. So therefore, hippopotamus would be an error, would be a faulty diction, right? Good. So D, acceptable as stands. That's straightforward. It's just correct. So number 16 says he advanced a step or two to meet his attacker, who suddenly became alarmed and retreated back 4 or 5 spaces. Retreated means the same as to move back, so that would be wordy. It's repetitive. Retreated back, saying reverse back. So we try to not do that when we are writing. Number 17, the traffic bottlenecks must be ironed out. That is classic cliche. Number 18, the politician hammered the nail. Okay, hammering the nail, another cliche, into the leafy mines. You think somebody's mind gonna be leafy? That's another example of a cliche, my friend. We have this one, number 19. Seldom do people declare that they are not the products of their environment. This here is acceptable, right? Seldom do people declare they are not the products of their environment. This one is okay, but this question often changes in the exam. They often say seldom and only on a few occasions do people declare. So that would have been wordy. But as this one is here, this one is correct. Seldom do people declare they are not the products of their environment. And number 20. So modern approach to fitness is to adopt a holistic approach, physical, mental, emotional. So the question, adopt, that will be the point of questioning. So should it be adopt, OPT, or should it be adapt? You tell me. If it's adopt, OPT, then the question here, the sentence here would be correct, so it would be D. Or if it's supposed to be adapt, then that would have been faulty diction, C. So you tell me, what do you say? Do you say C? Comment on the live chat and comment on the comments. I'm going to give you the answer in just a bit. But you tell me what you think. Should it be adopt or adapt? What do you say? C, faulty diction, or D, acceptable? Go ahead, comment. Let's take a quick break. Let me just tell you guys that it was truly an honor working with many of you. It's really a nice experience to know that you have people from all across the Caribbean looking at you for assistance, and that's a good feeling, really. And I really hope that you all do well. Remember, your future, this CSEC exam that you're writing, is really your passport, right? Your passport into a decent life for yourself and a decent life for that of your family, right? And many persons might be counting on you. So you owe it to yourself, you owe it to them to ensure you do your very best to ensure you get that passport that can catapult you into a decent future, whether it's going on to university or it's going on to working, right? So I wish you all the best. Just try and do your very best. Try and do your very best. And your best is always good enough. Your best is always good enough. Remember, you are ugly. You were born ugly, so you can't be lazy. You have to be hardworking. All right, let's continue with some more multiple choice quickly. So this question comes almost every year, probably because students get it wrong almost all the time. We could reach the survivors neither by boat or by plane. Neither is always followed by the word nor. Either always is followed by the word or. So if neither is there, then B should have been nor. So this or here would be the error. And it says, I formed the brilliant idea of climbing the fence to hang. So this here is a parallel structure error. I formed the brilliant idea of climbing the fence and hanging from the top. So that would have been a parallel structure. What is at the front here, climbing, must be matching up with what is at the back, hanging. So that would have been C. Then it says, she was not feeling well at the beginning of the journey and sitting in front of the car made her feel worse. That one there is correct. So some persons might say it should have been worst, but that's wrong. So there are two probabilities here. One, she was sitting in one seat and then she moved to another seat. So it's two seats. One of the seats made her feel bad and the other seat made her feel worse. If there was a third seat, the third seat would have made her feel worst. So that one would have been D. Well, that would have been C for worst in that case, right? But this one here, worst, would actually be correct. So let me go this one again just to make sure we are all on the same page. She was not feeling well at the beginning of the journey and sitting at the front of the car made her feel worse. So again, the situation here is two probabilities. One, she wasn't feeling well at the beginning of the journey, and one, she wasn't feeling well at the back of the car. Right? So worst would be correct because of those two probabilities. If there was a third probability, then worst would have been correct. Number 19. The better of the two athletes. The subject here is the better. The better, meaning, okay, if we have two persons, one would be the better one. The better of the two athletes. So it's two persons, one is the better one. So the better is singular. If the singular subject is there, then the verb must also be singular. So the word claim should have really been claims or claimed. But claim is incorrect. So let me just recap. If the question said, two athletes claim never to have used, that would have been correct. But they're saying the better of two athletes. The better of two athletes claim. That is an error. The better means one. So let me say in another way. One of the two athletes claim or claims? What do you say? One of the two athletes claims. Because the subject is one. One. Do you say one is or one are? You say one is. Good. So you say one is, the same thing applies here. The better of the two athletes claims. That's a singular subject, singular verb. Another question they often use in the exam. Each of the cars was or were earmarked. What do you say? Each of the cars was earmarked or were earmarked. What do you say? Comment in the section there, let me see. Each of the cars was. Was would be correct because the subject is not cars, the subject is each. Each is singular, so the verb must also be singular. Should have been was. Each of the cars was earmarked. Each of the cars was earmarked. Right? Good. Each of the houses was earmarked. Each of the YouTube channels was mine. The subject is each. Alright, as a teacher continued his lesson, John began to lose all interest, imagining himself lying. That should have been lying and not laying. Lying in bed or on his bed relaxing. So C would have been the error there for number 20. Hi guys, so let's quickly review statistical report writing. Now I know I have many persons commenting in the comment section telling me how their teachers didn't do this. Well, in the defense of your teacher, many things that are in the syllabus often do not come in the exam. So the teacher probably used their better judgment and not teach it. But again, like I say, I don't like my students. I have bright students, right? But they get really confused if they see something that they are not familiar with. So I try my best to prepare them in all aspects. So we did things like statistical report just to be on the safe side. So statistical report can be something you will see in the exam tomorrow. It doesn't mean it will be there, but you can see it there. All right. So what I want to correct here, just include in your statistical report a date at the top and your close with your yours faithfully and your name. Right. I have persons asking me whether to put it in block format or you can use your paragraphing. It really doesn't matter. Once you have all the components here, it will be fine, right? You can put it all in block format to one side, or you can do your paragraphing, you decide. But include the date and include the close. I didn't talk about that previously. But go ahead and numbers. Persons ask me if you can include numbers in your statistical report. Yes, it's not a summary. In the summary, you would prevent using these numbers, but you'll use this idea of the numbers. But in this statistical report, you are reporting on stats. So you can use these stats. You can use numbers, right? But that doesn't mean every word you write would be a number. No, you still have to write to explain the data. Right? I hope that made it a bit clearer. If there's a word limit, they will tell you the word limit. If not, you just try to do it with 300 words or under 300 words, right? Yeah, include a conclusion, or even if it's a one-line conclusion, include an introduction. I have this report reflects a survey as the introduction, and in closing, the number of CXE entries, yada yada. Good. So, good. That's all I want to tell you on statistical report. I want to tell you about the short story. Now, the short story is where you get to show off your writing skills. So, like I often tell my students, you need to make an interesting start. Don't have a boring story. Nobody wants to read at CXE. Once upon a time, there was this girl who liked this boy, and they liked each other so much that they got married one day. That's boring. I can almost predict how it will end. And they live happily ever after. Boring. Boring. You wouldn't do well. If I mark a paper, you wouldn't do too well. But anyway, let me not say that. But the point is, try to make an interesting story. You're an adult or thereabouts. Try to start writing maturely. Let me give you an example, just off my head. Order in my court, commanded the judge, as my young life flashed before my eyes. Or I can say, flashed before my hazel, pearly, brown eyes. No, hazel and pearly, same thing. Anyway, order in my court, commanded the judge, as my young life flashed before my hazel, pearly eyes. How do you plead? He demanded. I stuttered. Not guilty, Your Honor. At that moment, I could feel the judgmental eyes across the cold, dead courtroom surveying me like a vulture searching for its prey, and I cried. Tears danced down my long, thin face, or tears danced down my long, melanin-rich face at the thought of spending the rest of my life in jail. Come on, write, enjoy this exam. This is your chance you get to express yourself, show off, right? Don't ask me how that story ends. Just something I'm thinking about. Just write. So what else? What are some of the questions I have here on story? What are some of the things you asked? Somebody asked if you can include or you should include a title. To be honest, I never marked the short story aspect of the English A exam, so I can't advise you there. I marked, I think it was summary once and then argument. I didn't mark short story, so I can't advise you whether you should include the title for a story, but it doesn't hurt. If it doesn't hurt, then just put a thing in. Put a line, put the title in. If it gives you a mark, it gives you a mark. If it doesn't give you a mark, you wouldn't lose anything. You wouldn't even know anyway. So just put in the thing, huh? Good. That's it on summary. on short story. Remember, there's a video here, an entire video here, two videos rather, on short story writing. Check those out. Check those out. You can use a flashback technique where we talk about where we're at now and then flash back to how we got where we're at. That would be a good way to start your story. Good. And don't have a conversation of a story of conversation or a story of dialogue. Everybody talking. John talking, John mother talking, John mother mother talking, John mother mother grandmother talking. Relax. It's not dialogue. Everybody doesn't have to talk. Once or twice conversation is good enough. Everybody doesn't have to talk. All right? Good. Relearning? Hope so. So a recap on your summary. Your summary is going to be the first thing you will see in section A. Stick to the word limit. In your summary, stick to the limit. Sticking to the limit, you would be required to be concise and precise. Concise tells you brief. Precise tells you to the point that is being talked about. Don't add in no detail that wasn't there. Just put the points that really were there and that are important and link those points to tell a story from start to end, right? No example. Do not use examples. Do not use repetition. Just put the details that was mentioned and then connect those details with your connective words. So in addition, as a result, consequently, use things like that, right? Write in paragraph form. Write in paragraph form for your summary. And don't write how many paragraphs you see. Don't summarize each paragraph in one paragraph. That would be a terrible, that would be terrible. So not because the thing has 5 paragraphs, you have to write 5 paragraphs in your summary. 1, 2 is okay. 3 the most. All right. So good. What else? Anything else I want to tell you about summary? Stick to the limit. If you go way below the limit, it means information that should have been there is left out. If you go way over that limit, you have examples there. You have examples, and easy to find examples. When you have a comma coming after a comma after another comma, you have examples there. Go back and scratch that thing out, right? Good. So I think that's it in summary writing. So I think that's all I want to tell you tonight. I wish you all the best in the exam. Try and get there early, please. Best of luck, guys. Really, you're an English person. You've spoken English probably all your life. So, what is it difficult about writing in an exam? Just go and do what you do. Write. Do well. Take care. Good luck. You got this.